Looks like Donald Trump just nullified all of Joe Biden's Autopen signatures. Hey there friends, welcome back to another Legally Armed America video. I'm of course Paul Glasgow here, the one and only truth pimp dealing you a vulgar display of logic and reason on a daily basis. First of all, before I get to business, I want to let you guys know I do listen to you and I do pay attention to my comment section. A couple of you that take a little bit of interest in the things behind me have commented about different guitars that I have, and one of you asked if I would put up one of my SGs, or you said the SG. Well, I have several Gibson SGs. So I put one up there. That's the Voodoo SG that has a red skull on the 5th fret. And it has a black satin finish with some red dye rubbed into the wood grain. Beautiful guitar. Just want to let you know that. And I threw an Explorer up on this side over here. So back to business. If Joe Biden wasn't running the country during his drunken stupor, or whatever you want to call his mental decline over the 4 years that he was in office, then who was running it? I think we kind of all know that answer. We all know that it is either a subgroup of Obamaites or people directly associated with Obama, including, obviously, Barack Obama himself. But you know, the Autopen thing has been kind of a point of debate. Not really a serious debate, because I think we all know where that's going to go. But here recently, it did pop up. Donald Trump posted on his Truth Social account yesterday, any and all documents, proclamations, executive orders, memorandums, or contracts signed by order of the now infamous and unauthorized Autopen within the administration of Joseph R. Biden are hereby null, void, and of no further force or effect. Anyone receiving pardons, commutations, or any other legal document so signed, please be advised that said document has been fully and completely terminated and is of no legal effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, someone like Anthony Fauci, who doesn't understand the law, is probably under his bed right now, because this guy is the one who probably more than anyone needed a pardon. In fact, I still don't understand how he can avoid international prosecution for the things that he did to the world. But he probably more than anybody is freaking out right now. I want to take a realistic look at this. I don't like pie in the sky. I don't like things that we float out there that we can go on social media and pump our fists and say, yay, go Donald Trump, look what you did. Sometimes the things that he says sounds good, but it really, nothing you can do about it. We see it now. I mean, there's things that he's doing legally through executive orders, executive actions, and judges are knocking them back one by one, right? And he's doing the right thing, and he's doing the legal things. But the first point that I want to make in all of this, and I've not heard anybody make this point, but I want you to be thinking about this as I go through all of this. And I know logic doesn't always equate to legal or the right thing to do, but logic is logic, and logic, I'm going to throw some at you right here. If Joe Biden, according to the Democrats, in June of 2024, was too far gone cognitively, physically, mentally, whole ball of wax, if he was too far gone to campaign as president, and we saw it, the evidence was there, declining over that 4 years, but they finally admitted it after Trump stomped him in the first debate. If the Democrats can admit all of that this guy cannot run for president, then how can he effectively, from that point forward, and this is my opinion, but I don't know why anybody's not asking it, why was he allowed to, number one, stay president? And I do think there was a reason for that. And number two, why is he allowed to sign anything? And why are we to take anything seriously? If your party admitted that his mental decline was such that he could not run for president, then that tells me that he could not be president. Now, I understand you left him in office, but shouldn't your acknowledgement that he was not cognitively there negate anything from that point forward that he does in his official capacity, since you're acknowledging he can't function in his official capacity? Again, I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as I go through all of this. Again, in June 2024, Democrats suddenly discovered, shocker, that Joe Biden wasn't mentally capable of running for re-election. They said it publicly. They admitted it on camera. They scrambled to replace him. We saw what they replaced him with. But here's the problem. If he was too cognitively impaired to campaign, he was too cognitively impaired to govern. Running the country requires more mental capacity than running for office. This wasn't just a campaign issue. This was a constitutional issue. So here's the reality that they hope you actually forget about. Ask yourself this: who signed all of those executive orders? Who made it happen? Who approved the regulations? Who authorized all the spending? Who made national security decisions? Who read the briefings Joe was too out of it to understand? Because we know it wasn't Joe. We know that. I mean, this isn't a guess. We know it wasn't Joe. In fact, they mentioned that from an Autopen standpoint, that there were Autopen signatures of things that happened well after Biden was in bed. Biden would go to bed at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon and sleep for another 12 to 16 hours. There were Autopen signatures at 10 p.m. There's no documented evidence of Joe Biden being up at 10 p.m. over the last few years. We know Joe Biden was in bed. We know that he was comatose at that point, stacking that diaper full. Yet Joe Biden's signature was being used in the White House to sign documents. The President of the United States became a signature machine, not a president. This was propped up with note cards, handlers, an Autopen that actually did more work than he did. You want to talk about that shadow government? That's the real scandal here. That's what we really ought to be looking into. I mean, no offense to what Trump's doing by trying to negate the Autopen stuff. We should be looking into what really took place. Who was really calling the shot? I know we won't. They're going to walk away from that. They're not going to address that at all. But we should. That's the real question we should be asking. Not the documents, not the Autopen, not the signature. The scandal is this: we were being governed by unelected staffers, not the president. People who the American public never voted for, at least not this time. They never approved. You can't remove these people. There's no repercussions for these people doing the wrong or the evil thing because their name isn't on the bill or the signature. It's Joe Biden. So Joe Biden's taking the heat for all of these fake signatures, and nobody can be held to account for it because nobody is in official capacity doing any of this. These rogue shadow people made the decisions, they ran the agencies, they controlled national policy, they whispered into Joe's earpiece while he stared into space with a stupid blank look on his face. That is the definition of a shadow government. That's it. Like, that is literally it. Joe Biden was, by definition, other than having a hand up his ass working his mouth, he was by definition a puppet. He didn't do anything. And I might add real quick as a very fast side note, Jill Biden is just as much to blame as anyone because she was cognizant and she did see all this. She allowed it. She did nothing to stop all of this. Now, Trump jumped on Biden's Autopen use and declared documents invalid pretty quick. Now, whether that holds up legally isn't really the point. The point is, why was the Autopen used so often in the first place? Because Biden wasn't capable of signing things himself. Now, this is a constitutional crisis hidden in full sight. I mean, you're watching it unfold. You see it. You saw it. Everyone saw it. The Democrats saw it. Heck, the Democrats, we know they saw it because they wouldn't have put Kamala in there instead of Biden if they weren't forced to. They were forced to finally acknowledge what we all knew. So this was unfolding before our eyes, and it is a constitutional related issue. If a president is mentally unfit, the 25th Amendment exists for a specific reason. The vice president declares incapacity, the cabinet confirms, the power transfers. But they didn't do that because they needed Biden's name. They needed that illusion. They actually wanted to have a puppet, a meat puppet in there. They wanted that. You realize how dangerous and effective and powerful that is? To have somebody and their legacy take all the heat and all the bad stuff, like leaving the border open and all that stuff, all the stuff that they know was wrong, but they know furthered their cause. They knew the American people didn't agree with leaving borders open. But if they could put it off on Biden and blame Biden for everything, Biden didn't know he was being blamed. Biden didn't know what the corn was doing in his diaper. He was oblivious to all of that. So Biden just over as long as they wiped the spit off his mouth, kept him moving, kept him breathing, which was probably a bit of a challenge, they were good. Because this was the greatest thing they could have ever had. Some dummy that they could prance out there on stage, and they didn't care that he looked stupid because it actually gave them even more cover. Let's make this guy look super stupid. That way everybody is focused on him looking super stupid. When he falls, they weren't mad when he fell. They were happy when he fell. Because that, again, gave them cover. Oh, look how stupid and clumsy and horribly inept that Biden is. Yeah, we can't believe he's the president. Oh, look at this new executive order that he signed. So it was okay for him to sign stupid executive orders and to pardon the wrong people, because even the Democrats were using the fact that Joe Biden was senile to their advantage because he was still president. What you going to do about it? The interesting thing is that no one brought up the 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment really could have solved all this. Now, it would have sunk even worse than the ass whipping that she got. It would have really sunk Kamala Harris's campaign if they would have invoked the 25th Amendment and then put her in there from vice president to finish out Biden's term. Because it would have made her look even more stupid. I know it's hard to imagine Kamala Harris looking stupider than what she already looks like, but it would have. It would have exposed her. That also would have had Kamala saying, I ain't signing that. I mean, Kamala might be stupid, but she's not as brain dead as Joe Biden. She would not have allowed her name to go on things, even though she would have been risking the fact that those people would have bailed on her and not supported her to run for president. I don't think Kamala Harris, I know she's not real concerned with her legacy. I mean, Willie Brown. So does she really care about her legacy? I think she doesn't care what you think about how she got where she is, but I do think she wants to go down in history as some notable person. And she probably was like, I'll be happy to be the vice president and not have made any really bad decisions rather than go behind Biden and let Biden's handlers, the Obamanites and all those folks go in there, tell me what to do and make me look really bad as a president. You see what I'm saying? I mean, as bad as she wanted to be president, I don't think she wanted it so bad to let them use her as the same type of puppet that they were using Joe Biden and do all these things. I'm going to be honest here. She might, if she would have been put in there, because all Democrats knew the open border was destroying America and that wholeheartedly the vast majority of Americans, I'm talking 80 to 90%, agreed that the open border was a problem. This included Democrats. I believe Kamala Harris would have probably eked that border closed a little bit if she would have gotten in there. So that might have been another thing that the Obama people didn't want to do, is have Kamala go in there and screw up the things they had done to completely upset the whole balance in this country. Kamala might have actually done some things that they didn't agree with, if you think about it like that. Biggest thing is, it's fun to talk about Donald Trump negating all of these things that the Autopen signed. It's fun to talk about that. But I have to go back to my main point. And I know this has no legal standing. I get it. There's nothing. What I'm about to tell you doesn't have any legal bearing whatsoever. But again, I know speaking in logic is silly. But as a logically thinking person, if that entire party decided their guy was not competent to simply run as president, then how can we acknowledge anything that he did running the country? Because again, please don't tell me, oh, it's so exhausting running a campaign. Give me a break, right? It's running a campaign. Everybody else is doing your work. You get up there and read your pre-written speech. Whoop-de-doo. Yes, is it physically? Yeah, it probably takes a toll on you, but not mentally. And it doesn't take any real mental, bodybuilding to do that kind of stuff. So you can't tell me that you don't agree that if Biden, I'm talking about Democrats out there, if Biden wasn't capable of running a campaign, how could you acknowledge the fact that he could still run the country. How could you not invoke the 10th Amendment? Again, I get why Kamala Harris would have need to initiate it. And I guarantee you she went, not me. But let's be real about this. Let's not look at all the other things legislatively, because I'm going to be real honest here. I'm trying to be fair. If a bill got to Joe Biden's desk, well, it passed Congress, right? I mean, it passed the House. It passed the Senate. Made it to his desk. I understand he has veto power, but it's his job to sign those bills into law. Personally, even though some of those laws that probably got passed I don't agree with, that's the way the system works. He's kind of expected to sign those bills. I personally don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the executive orders where nobody else was involved and the pardons. Those things right there, I feel like those should be null and void. Because that is a single person making that decision to do that without the input of Congress. I understand they had other input because clearly other people were making those decisions. It wasn't Biden. We know this. But if there wasn't any elected officials, not that I put a whole lot of value on that, but if there wasn't Congress involved, there wasn't the Senate involved, then I don't think anything that Autopen signed should be legitimate. Now, from a legal standpoint, it's all legitimate. All of it is. Guess who was the president? Joe Biden. His name was on the desk. And because of that, everything else that Trump is trying to say is null and void, just my opinion here, this is just things to talk about because nothing's going to happen. Fauci will still keep his pardon. So will Hunter Biden, which, quick side note, you find it kind of odd that out of all those pardons that the Autopen signed, the one that Joe Biden made sure that he actually signed himself was the one for Hunter Biden? Tell me he didn't see this coming that we're talking about right now. In one case, I actually believe these people who were actually calling the shots were a little bit concerned with this whole Autopen thing, negating some of these signatures because they actually went through the trouble of developing 3 different Autopen signatures of Joe Biden's signature. Why? So that they could show, in case this ever came up, that, oh, look, they're not identical signatures, implying that it could have been Joe Biden signing those because these signatures were not identical to the Autopen signature. In other words, they would probably claim that Autopen 1 or Autopen A was the actual Autopen, and all the ones that looked different than that, well, that was Joe Biden signing, so naturally they were a little bit different. I think they knew this could become an issue, and that's why they did that, because why else do that? Well, I mean, what would be the reason to create 2 to 3 different Autopen signatures? Because when somebody's receiving one of those, they're only getting that one signature. So number one, they have nothing to compare it to. Number two, do they really care at that point if it looks different or the same as any other one? That was created for a reason. But anyway, nothing will come of this. There may be court battles because what will probably happen is they'll probably subpoena somebody that got pardoned, bring them in, maybe levy some charges against them or whatever. Then somebody's going to sue somebody. It's going to be a mess. But in the end, all it's going to be is a bunch of lawyers getting paid money because nothing's going to happen. Because again, even though it was wrong, it was perfectly legal. How about that? How you like that play on words? Even though it was wrong, it was legal. And that's what's going to happen. Joe Biden's signature will stand on all of those pardons and all of those stupid executive orders and all these things that we know he had no clue about. It's just the way the world works. And sometimes the rules that are out there, even though it seems like nobody else plays by them, in this case, this is what's going to happen and nothing will change. Again, kudos for them for bringing it to light. I'm glad for that, but nothing happens at this point. Guys, if you liked the video, please hit that like button. Please comment down below. How am I wrong on this? Am I seeing this wrong? Again, I think from a logic standpoint, I'm correct, but I don't think from a legal standpoint anything changes. A lot of lawyers out there that watch this channel. What do you think? Do you see a hole in what I'm saying? Do you see an out? Do you see a door that we can take that I haven't thought about, that I haven't approached at this point? And is my thinking just wrong? Guys, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell so when I upload a video, you actually get notification of that. We will see you tomorrow. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for a book to educate yourself and to educate the idiots out there who can't think for themselves regarding mass shootings, go to damnliars.net. Again, damnliars.net, and get my brand new book, Damn Liars.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's hanging around.